Another thing that's important to know is properties used in a real number system. Let's look at our first property. We have the commutative property. When using it with addition, you would have something like A plus B is equal to B plus A. It represents the same thing, but you've switched A and B. And it would work the same way with multiplication. A times B is equal to B times A. They represent the same thing, but are flipped around. Next we have the associative property of addition and multiplication. Here if we have A plus B plus D, and I put parentheses here, this is the exact same thing as A plus B plus D with the parentheses around these. And what this is going to do based on order of operations is tell you to do what's in the parentheses first. And it works the same way with multiplication. A times B times D with the associated B and D is still the same as A times B times D with the parentheses around here. And in the same way, it's telling you do what's in the parentheses first. Then we have the distributive property, which is used with addition and subtraction. So if we have D times B plus A, you're going to distribute D to each term. So we would have DB plus DA. And it works the same way with subtraction. If we have D times B minus A, distribute D to B and A. So DB minus DA. And that's the distributive property. Next we have the identity property, which can be used for addition and multiplication. So what the identity property is doing is it's keeping your number the same. So if we have 26, to keep 26, we're only going to add 0, which is still equal to 26. In the same way with multiplication, if we have 26, if we want to keep it as 26, we're going to multiply it times 1, which still equals 26. Next we are going to cover the inverse property of both addition and multiplication. So what the inverse property is trying to do is it's trying to find the opposite of the number or variable you are using. So if we have A, the inverse of A when using the inverse property of addition is negative A. So you're going to add A plus negative A, and you're going to get 0. You know you're doing it right in this case if your answer is always 0. Let's take the same A. This is technically A over 1. You're going to want to flip it and have 1 over A. A times 1 is A in both cases. So A divided by A is just 1. In the same way that here, your answer is always going to be 0, when using the inverse property of multiplication, your answer is always going to be 1. Next, we have the property of 0. So, with multiplication, any number times 0 is always going to be 0. With dividing, 0 divided by any number or variable is always going to equal 0. However, any number or variable divided by 0 doesn't equal 0. It's actually undefined.